Let's talk about cloud. So here's I guess in essence our cloud strategy. So this is a bit confusing, so I'm going to spend a bit of time on it. It's confusing for good reason though. So essentially Symantec are going to market with cloud in 3 different ways. Okay, and we have to do that because there are 3 different opportunities. The first way is quite traditional for us really. So many parts of the portfolio that I showed you earlier are very applicable to building a private cloud. If you're going to build a private cloud to do virtual desktop, I just mentioned we have products that can help with the storage situation there. If you're going to build an application cloud of some description and you're worried about application availability, you need application clustering. We can do that, etc. So this is kind of a fairly traditional play, I guess, of our products, and we're doing a lot of work in that space. The second area, though, is where we have become a cloud provider. And I'll talk about the brands in a second. But Symantec.cloud is now an established brand. And what you're going to see over time is us bringing more and more of our portfolio to market via a completely different channel. You can now buy backup from us as a service. You can buy that as managed by us in our data centers globally, and you buy it as a cloud service. You're going to see more and more of that from us, again, not because we think it's cool, but because customers are demanding it. And backup is one of the first things that we focused on through demand. You know, if there's any service that's frankly a complete pain to run and expensive to run and frankly never works, it's backup. And so why wouldn't you go to Symantec and buy their backup as a service option in the cloud? You know, they then hold the SLA, etc. I pay for what I use. So you're going to see more and more of what we do for a living expressed in the cloud. Of course, this has been an active space for us under the covers for many, many years on the security side, because we have a global intelligence network, which is essentially a cloud service that we use to underpin everything we do in security. If you buy Norton for your PC, it's leveraging a cloud. It's leveraging our own private cloud that we call our global intelligence network, and I'll talk about that later. The other thing we're doing, though, is we're working with cloud providers. And I know that you guys are sort of somewhat engaged on this already. We've really started to rethink how we do licensing so that we can be compelling to a cloud vendor who wants to embed us in some way into their service, go to market with that kind of Symantec Inside brand. You know, if you talk to chief executives, if you talk to the board of directors about their concerns around cloud, security is going to be up there. You know, encryption is going to be up there. Authentication is going to be up there. And Symantec, we think, has a brand that's quite well associated with those solutions, right? So for a lot of cloud vendors, this is quite compelling. They would quite like to have Symantec Inside and be able to talk about that with their customers. So we're doing a lot of work with service providers. So those are the 3 ways that we're going to go to market with cloud. That won't change. That fundamental picture won't change. What you're going to see, though, is lots of activity in each of those areas. Those are the brands. So whenever you see Symantec.cloud, that's essentially talking to our enterprise capability in the cloud space. Norton, you're probably all familiar with from yellow boxes in PC world, but Norton is the brand that we're going to use for consumer-based cloud services. So just an interesting little anecdote on this side of things. I don't know, do any of you run Norton 360 at all on your laptops? You should. So one of the things that Norton 360 will do for you, and I use this at home, it has a backup to the cloud option. So if you have Norton 360 doing security things for you on your laptop, there is an option. You just switch it on or switch it off. I think you get 30 gig of free space, and it will just back up your laptop. You won't even know it's happening, but it's backing up to a cloud. That might be a cloud to you. It's a data center to us. It's actually several data centers to us. And that's a storage asset that's now approaching 100 petabytes in size, and it's growing at about 4 to 5 petabytes a quarter. So that just illustrates one of the major problems we see evolving in the cloud space to a cloud provider, of which we're one, which is this storage thing again, right? It's that unstructured data growth. What are we doing about that internally? Well, it's my 5-step best practice. That's what we've applied to our data centers, providing our cloud services, and that's how we're rationalizing our own storage. As a matter of interest, to show you the effectiveness of that 100 petabyte data asset that sits in our data centers in the States right now is currently managed by 5 storage administrators, and we've had 0 downtime in 5 years using the best practice that I mentioned to you earlier. So we think that's compelling, again, to a cloud service provider. If they want to learn some lessons from somebody that's done it, I can't think of a storage cloud service that's more than 100 petabytes globally. So we've learned some lessons there. So here's some other things we're doing in cloud very quickly. So I mentioned this one. Here's a private endpoint virtualization thing that we've done. We've done this in several organizations. So this is essentially streaming desktops via VMware, dealing with the storage problems, dealing with the availability problems in a private cloud. We're doing lots of things with other organizations who are essentially offer up public cloud storage services, and via open APIs, we're doing things like vaulting and backup cloud services with people integrated with other solutions. So we're quite open in our approach here, and as always, we're not a hardware vendor, right? So there are missing parts of a jigsaw puzzle that partners like yourselves can kind of help us bring together.